Last week, I interviewed Debbie Frimmer from LZ Lane Art Garage. She is an amazing artist and paints the most beautiful furniture pieces. I'm always inspired after seeing her latest project, and I know you guys are going to be as inspired after hearing her creative process of flipping furniture and insight into running her small business. So definitely go take a listen to that one, you guys. Now, in this week's episode, I am going to be discussing a topic that I feel isn't discussed enough: imposter syndrome, what it is, and why we as creatives tend to feel that way, and what I did to overcome it early on in my creative journey. So let's dive in.
Welcome to the Rescued and Upcycled podcast with weekly inspiration, tips on trying new techniques, and overall real talk about owning your own DIY business. Now here's your host, Sonnet Ullenbrock.
Welcome back to Rescued and Upcycled. I'm your host, Sonnet Ellenbrock. I am so excited that you guys are joining me today on my podcast. This is episode 20. I cannot believe I am 20 episodes into this podcast. I feel like it was the first one that I started. If you are new here, welcome. If you are a returning listener, welcome back. Every other week, I do interview different creatives and small business owners. The opposite weeks, I just love to chat about different aspects of owning and running a small business. So, areas that are affecting our small business owners. In today's episode, I'm going to be discussing a topic, imposter syndrome. And have you ever felt like a fraud in your creative work despite, having success or accomplishments? Do you own like do you doubt your own ability, and fear like being exposed as like a phony? If so, keep in mind you guys are not alone. Many creatives experience what's known as imposter syndrome. It is just a feeling like possibly of like inadequacy or self-doubt despite having your success. And you may not even know that it is actually a legit thing. Have you ever heard of imposter syndrome? I actually said this to a couple different people that I was going to be talking about this topic. And the one thing was, I've never heard of imposter syndrome. And it is a legit syndrome. And it can hit the creative world hard. Where success is often subjective to, it's just often subjective. And the line between like good and great work can be, definitely blurry. So, no matter if you're like an artist, writer, designer, or whatever type of creative that you are, imposter syndrome can happen, and it can happen to any of us. So, early on in my creative journey, I experienced this, and it took me a hot minute to realize what was happening and then how to overcome this feeling that would like just creep up on me and almost paralyze me. And I am very happy that I was able to overcome this because I feel so like now I can just create and just be myself, my authentic self. And I try when I have these thoughts or feelings ever come, I just know what to do now to overcome it. So, what is the true definition of imposter syndrome, you guys? So, I am going to read it. It is a psychological phenomenon that affects many people, particularly those who are high achievers or professionals in their field. It's characterized by a persistent feeling of self doubt and fear of being exposed as a fraud despite evidence of competence or success. So, I guess I'm going to break it down by like different symptoms of imposter syndrome. Now, these symptoms, you don't have to have all of them. You could just have one of them. And I had just a couple. So it took me, it took me a minute to like overcome it, but it's great to recognize how you're feeling and like figure out how to overcome it. So, one of the things that I hear too is like feeling like your work is never good enough, despite positive feedback from others. And this can, really lead you to not finishing your projects. It can almost paralyze you from accomplishing or moving forward in your business. So think about that. Like if you don't feel like, whatever you're doing is good enough to show the world, you're going to really be paralyzed to move forward with your business. Now, believing that, if you've had success, believing your success was only achieved due to luck or chance. Yeah, I had one breakout video. It was just luck that, I've had some success. I'm just really not that talented. Some people truly feel like that. And you have to realize like it's not just luck or chance, it's you. You are the reason why you're successful. So for those that are feeling like that, yes, you've done it. Own it. Now, fear of being exposed as a fraud or imposter. So you're in the creative world. You feel like there are so many other creatives that are better than you. Should you even belong here? Should you even be showing your work? Should you have a YouTube channel? Like, are you even an expert? You need to realize that yes, you are. You are not a fraud. You are not an imposter. You have something to offer to the creative world. Difficulty accepting compliments, praise for your work. And honestly, you guys, I I just remember I experienced this as, like, a child, like, when I was first doing I would create stuff and people would compliment me, and I had a hard time just saying thank you. Finally, I'm like, "No, just say thank you, Sonnet, thank you." And I just remember that was when I was, like, in high school and, like, early on, like, I was really I struggled with it, like, because I was like, "Really? Is it even good?" And yes, it is. So, definitely accept those compliments. And then comparison to others in your field and feeling like you're falling short when you compare yourself. This was an issue for me, you guys. So, when I first started my YouTube channel and I was doing all the things and I was putting in all the work, I was watching other creatives as well. And I was comparing their successes to my own. And I was struggling. I honestly, this is the area that I struggled the most because I'd be like, oh my gosh, she came up with such a great idea, or she's doing this. I should be doing this. She's doing that, or that creative's doing this. And I literally started comparing myself, what journey they were on to what journey I was on. And what really helped with this is that I followed Think Media, and if you don't follow them, definitely do it. They have a podcast and they have a channel, and they have a ton of great content about small business, running your small business, YouTube, equipment, you name it, they talk about it. And one thing they talked about was they had an episode on imposter syndrome. And that is when I discovered what was happening. And they talked about this scenario about how you compare yourself, and you can't compare yourself because honestly, you guys, we are each on our own journey. We each are authentically different, and we have, a different path, and you cannot compare somebody else's journey to your own because each small business is at a different point. They may have started sooner. They may have started at a different point. They may already have had a following. Who knows where, or how it all came about, but you have to look at yourself and be proud of where you are. And so I finally had to take a step back, and I had to stop watching other creators because it honestly was hurting my growth as a creator. It was hurting just my growth as a small business owner. And so what I did is I made an effort not to watch anyone. I actually stopped watching everyone that was any type of DIYer, upcycler. thrifter, anything to do with anything that was related to what I was doing, I stopped watching. It was hard because I love watching and, like, being inspired. I don't ever like to copy, but I like to be inspired by what other creatives are doing. And I'm like, "You need to just cut yourself off. You need to find a different outlet when you are not creating. You need to watch a different, niche." So, that's when I started watching true crimes. This topic came up on one of my lives, and they're like, "You like watching true crimes?" Yes, I do. I'm slightly obsessed, and now my whole news or my whole, like, news feed, for YouTube is all true crime stuff, and I stay up to date on that, and that is kind of like my outlet, and it allows me to just be me, to, like, in my own niche. Do I still catch up on people? Now I do. Should I'm actually a little afraid to go back to watching, the different creators just because I don't want that ever to creep up on me again. So that leads me to the last thing, perfectionism, you guys. Setting your standards so high. Like for yourself. And I am honestly a perfectionist at heart, but I realized very quickly that nothing can be perfect. Everything has, you just can't be perfect. No matter what you do, there something is going to happen. And when I was creating and I would have like my project would not turn out perfect, it would bother me. And many times I didn't even want to put that project in my video. So, what I decided to do is embrace the imperfections and then create a teaching aspect of the imperfections. So, as I'm creating, sometimes when you're watching videos, the project, you see all the steps and it just turns out exactly how the creator, like that's how they have you perceive it, which I do everything. Like if I am struggling with something, you guys, I show you. I am going to be my authentic and true self. You're going to get me. So if I am feeling like a hot mess, you're going to know I'm feeling like a hot mess. If I am on the struggle bus for something, you're going to know it. And then I'm going to tell you how I'm going to overcome it in my project. So I realized that embracing the imperfections is better than trying to be absolutely perfect because you're never going to please every single person, no matter what you do. So you may be asking yourself, why does imposter syndrome happen in the creative field? Well, there's a couple factors because, like, first of all, we are putting ourselves out there. Like as a creative, you're right in the spotlight. Like if you are creating YouTube videos or if you are creating even posts on Facebook or TikToks, like you're putting yourself out there. And I feel like you probably are creating high standards for yourself and trying to have that perfectionism. Now, when a project, either falls short or you get a bad comment, this can trigger like some extreme feelings of failure or self doubt. And, that still happens, to be honest, when someone is unkind and says something on a video that is not kind. I feel like I have some, doubts. So for instance, I will tell you guys people do not like my voice. They don't like how they say I have a sing-songy voice, that I do some stuff on the end. Like, I don't even know what I do. I'm from Wisconsin, you guys. I'm a Midwesterner, and this is just my voice, okay? People have asked me to talk normal. I talk normal. This is me talking normal. So, for you to put that post on one of my videos to talk normal, this creates extreme feelings of, like self-doubt. Like one lady told me I needed to or consult in a speaking coach or something like that. Really? I need to learn how to speak properly. And I'm sorry, this is who I have been my entire life. I am not changing now. So if you don't like me, So be it. There are so many amazing creators out there that you can just, swipe and go to the next one. You do not have to listen to me or watch me. I have my people that love me, and that's what I want to surround myself with. So, if you think about that, we're putting ourselves out there, and unkind comments that are not necessary are not needed. So, like I said, uncertainty, self-doubt, like, am I even good enough? Should I even be here? Why am I doing this? Like that it's like a downward spiral. So, and then the comparisons to others. Like then it leads you to, well, why can't I talk like that person? Or, why can't I be like them? Like why do are they receiving these comments? Because it just leads to a downward spiral because you are often, in like I said, putting yourself out there and you're in the public. So you're really subjective to critique. And as a creator, you have to realize it just comes with what you're doing. Um, or if you have lack of recognition. So your creative work, you're like just you feel like nobody is recognizing you. Your channel's not being found. People aren't commenting on your posts. I mean, this can really lead to a feeling of frustration. Why am I not being recognized like so and so? Like why don't I have that many followers? And this can definitely be very difficult. Now, then the next question, how can I overcome this, you guys? And, overcoming all these feelings, it just takes a little time and effort, but you know what? It is possible. You can manage these feelings and, turn that self doubt and build, turn it into confidence and build your confidence in your work and you as a creator. So, I guess the first thing is if you felt any of the, ways that I've just been talking about, acknowledge it. Don't feel like embarrassed because honestly, there's nothing to be embarrassed about that you feel this way. These are feelings. You have to acknowledge how you're feeling. Um, and that will really help you identify, what areas that you're struggling with. And then recognize that it's common. Like everyone feels this way. If you are saying, I never felt like that, I would almost 100% challenge you on that and say at one point in your life, you doubted yourself. You doubted your creative ability. You compared yourself to someone else. So if you said that you'd have never felt any of these ways, I guess I don't know. I would have to I highly doubt that. At one point in your creative career, I feel like we've all experienced something. So, anyways, when these feelings come up, try to identify when the feelings start to arise and notice, like what thoughts you're feeling and like what is triggering it. So like for instance, when I realized that watching other creatives were triggering and hurting my creative process, I had to do something about it. If you are, like when you start doing that negative talk, you start doing that negative self-talk, stop. Stop saying like why, like why am I not there? Why is my stuff, whatever it is. Be proud of where you're at in your creative journey. Challenge negative thoughts and beliefs, like challenge them. Just say stop and think about turn it around and think about where you are, what you've accomplished, and go back and read all the positive comments, because you are a real artist or you are a real creative, and remind yourself that you have the skill set that you've developed and look at all that positive feedback. So it's like a mental exercise, you guys. You have to turn it around and it takes a little time. I mean, honestly, it took me when I first started, it took me several months to finally just realize that I am going to be just me. I have my own creative journey. And in my membership group, when other members start feeling like, "Oh, well, they're so much farther ahead," or, "Oh, they've had this accomplishment," or "this is given to them." Well, first of all, nobody is on the same journey and nothing is given to anyone. You have to work for it and you have to earn it. And that is what, by staying on task and like setting goals for your small business, then figure out like look back at what your goals were and what you've accomplished as a creative and a small business owner, and that is what's going to make you feel good about what you've accomplished, not comparing yourself about where somebody else is in their small business journey. You are on your own path, and honestly, I think that is like one of the best pieces of advice I can give you is like I tell my members, everyone is at a different stage. And don't be jealous of somebody else because of that, or don't feel like you're inadequate because of where they are compared to where you are. You're just at a different journey or a different point. You will be there someday. What steps do you need to take to get there? So kind of like turn it around. Um, and then if you are one that can't accept praise or, like positive feedback, instead of dismissing compliments, learn to just accept it, own it, and say, yeah, like you don't have to be arrogant, but like just say thank you and, like acknowledge what, they are saying, acknowledge the compliment. And then, like I said, set realistic goals and expectations. Don't think you're going to start a YouTube channel and be at 1 million followers or 100,000 followers. Like, why is that person at 100,000 followers? Or why did they grow this quickly? Set realistic goals. And, at this point, too, like, don't overwork yourself. Don't think you have to like break your back and work yourself to the bone in order to hit that spot. Take it and like learn. Everything is a learning experience. So I feel like just do small tasks, take breaks and just work towards your goals. And then you guys, like I said, celebrate your achievements. Take time and celebrate. So in my membership group, what we set goals at the beginning of the year and we figure out where we want to be at each quarter. And then each quarter, we celebrate what we've accomplished. We take a look at, okay, so we thought we were going to do this. It's not a bad thing that we're not there. What happened? Why didn't we accomplish that goal that we wanted to in the first quarter? What can we do in the second quarter? So take time to celebrate and setting goals and writing them down and looking back at like the first half of the year and like going, "Oh, I did accomplish a lot. I am going to celebrate what I've done." That is a perfect way to do it. Or, oh my gosh, I put out X amount of videos or I had a breakout video. Celebrate that because you didn't just have a breakout video because it was by chance. No, there's something great about that video. And that's why you had a breakout video. So, this can help you really build confidence and maintain motivation for your work and your business. And then lastly, you guys, find a network system. I cannot stress this enough. Like I feel like I hit a gold mine when I created my membership group because not that, I have the membership group, but I have a community. And I always tell them, you guys think you have, I am lucky to have you guys. And they all feel lucky to be part of the group. I feel lucky that I am part of their group. They support me as much as I support them and encourage them to do things. So, whenever like I even have a struggle, I reach out to them and talk to them. And, it's like they boost me up, I boost them up, and we all boost each other up. So, having that support system around you, to encourage your work, to give you ideas and suggestions, it is so important. That supportive community can really help you feel more confident and connected. It just, I cannot stress that enough to surround you with people, like-minded people, and that can encourage and the encouragement is so, so important. So whether you guys are part of like a membership group like that or just have friends in the creative world and you guys meet once every 2 weeks or once a month and you bounce ideas off of each other, like what's working, and or I'm having this problem or oh my gosh, this comment, you guys. It's just been, like whatever it is, if you have a creative or a supportive team that can help you, I would definitely encourage to set something up like that or join a membership group because let me tell you, my members, they're not just members, they are my friends and I text them all the time. Like we text each other. I mean, literally, they are my friends. And we meet every Tuesday and we talk about all the things. So we have a task in mind each Tuesday, but then we also, if there are things bothering each other, we air it out, we talk it out, and that's what I would definitely recommend. Now, remember, you know, imposter syndrome, is a common experience that many people in the creative field, feel, but just acknowledge it and try to figure out what you can do to overcome it. And, I talked about all those things, but, just really understanding, what triggers these feelings and is like the first start, like to recognize and manage, how you're feeling and then figure out what you can do to overcome it. And I think like acknowledging that it is like it's a problem that you're having, you're experiencing, and then what you can do to overcome it. So that is just going to help you, really break out in the creative field. It's going to help you with your small business. And I hope that, I have, at least talked about it enough or given enough explanation of how it affected me that you can take a look and see how it's affecting you and then overcome it. So, like I said, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, and I really wanted to talk about imposter syndrome because I feel like it really isn't discussed enough, and I wanted to give you some examples, like I said, of how it affected me and how I overcame it. And do those feelings sometimes creep up? Absolutely. I am not perfect. I've never said I was. So every once in a while, when I have like a feeling of self doubt or I start comparing myself, I like put a stop to it. Stop it. You cannot compare yourself. So that has been like a big issue. That I just am going to lead my own path and create my own journey. And, I'm going to see where it goes. So I am excited to see where, like, I've been doing this now going on, it's going to be 4 years in May that I have started my YouTube channel, right? 4 years, I think. I have to count. It's like it seems like it's yesterday, you guys, but I have come so far and I am so proud of everything that I've accomplished. And I am so excited that I get to show up for my viewers every day, whether it be, on my YouTube channel or, over on a Facebook Live. And I just have to remember that look where I was when I first started and where I am today. So, again, I hope I've inspired you guys to take a look at yourselves and just realize that it's normal if you're feeling any of the ways that I talked about today. Um, but I hope you, like I said, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. And then in next week's episode, you guys, this is going to be a good one. So I am interviewing Sandra from Midwest Charm. And she's a Midwesterner like myself, and she has this most amazing storefront where she creates beautiful vignettes. And she is going to be diving into how she created a new income stream for her small business by using Whatnot. Are you wanting to add an extra income stream to your small business? Well, then this is an episode you're going to want to listen to because she talks about whatnot and how it's helped her small business. So that will be in next week's episode. Now, if you guys are listening on any of the podcast platforms, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so you guys don't miss out on an episode. If you are watching me on my YouTube channel, remember, I have a new channel made or created called Rescued and Upcycled by Sonnets podcast. Subscribe to that channel. I am also putting this in a playlist on my normal Sonnets Garden Blooms channel as well. But definitely don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And then give me a thumbs up if you guys are enjoying this video, and let me know in the comments what you're thinking. And have you ever experienced imposter syndrome? Let me know in the comments and how you've overcome it. I'm also on all the other platforms: Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, you name it. And that's where I just post a lot more content over there, behind the scenes and all that good stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and we are going to see you next week. Bye-bye.